So much of home ownership is about affordability as well as availability. In this episode of Talk Mortgage to Me, I'm bringing in one of Novus Home Mortgage's rising stars. She's a top producer out of the Massachusetts market, and she's going to share with us a specific scenario where she was able to turn a no into a yes. Somebody that was told they only qualify for $150,000 ends up buying a home for $250,000, and the payment was below what they were going to pay in rent. If this is you or someone you know, this episode, well, it's a can't be missed. Check this out. On this episode of Talk Mortgage to Me, I have Novus Home Mortgage's rising star and top producer, Kayla Tarabay. Kayla's out of the Massachusetts market. She's going to share a story with us about how she turned a no into a yes. This is when a particular home buyer was already told no by another lender, yet Kayla came in and showed them their way to yes. Now, when you're qualifying for a home loan, it's typically your income, your credit, but it's also how much you can afford on a monthly basis and then marrying that to a purchase price. And in this scenario, the purchase price that was told to these home buyers was about $100,000 less than what was even possible or realistic. So I'm going to kick it to Kayla. She's going to tell us all about this scenario and, more importantly, how she helped another client win and how you too can win, especially if you have a scenario similar to the one that Kayla's going to explain. So Kayla, you're in Massachusetts, right?
Correct.
Boston area?
Yeah. Well, probably an hour outside Boston.
You're an hour outside of Boston.
Correct.
Do you call that like Central Mass?
Yeah, about Central Mass.
Okay, so most of the families that you're helping these days as a mortgage loan originator are in Central Mass.
Well, I lend in all 50 states, but it's around that area. So I do Mass, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire pretty frequently.
Pretty frequently, plus a little bit in Florida.
Correct.
Yeah, right. I know your mentor lives in Florida. You spent some time in Florida.
Yes.
You and I are recording this in my studio in Florida. So, but it is nice to know that you can lend in all 50 states. Yeah. So you had a scenario. Kind of walk me through it. Was it a husband and wife situation? Was it a solo buyer? What was it?
Yep. So I had a husband and wife, and it was funny. I'm part of all these Facebook groups about first-time home buyers, whether they have any questions, and when they do, I jump right in. So I had this buyer. She had made a post that, you know, she's been working with her lender and her realtor for a really long time. She's super frustrated. She can't get in anything. Can somebody help me? So I said, that was it.
And you just happen to be one of the participants in this. Is it a local Facebook group?
It's national.
A national Facebook group.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. But you saw this person happen to be down the road from you, or did that not even matter?
That didn't even matter. As soon as I see that, I'm like, okay, how can I help you?
Okay, nice.
So I actually reached out to her and I messaged her and I said, hi, my name's Kayla Tarabay. I'm with Novus Home Mortgage. I was like, I saw your post. I understand that you're frustrated. Can you give me a call? So she gave me a call and she started yelling at me.
She wasn't happy.
She was not happy. She was very frustrated to the point where she cried. We actually talk about this now today. But so by the end of the call, you know, she's frustrated. I mean, by the beginning of the call, she's frustrated. She can't get a house. All she wants to do is have a house for her family and her kids. Like, why can't I afford anything? Why can't we have good credit? We saved money. Why can't we get in anything? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because you said their credit score was probably what?
They were in the 700s. I mean, they didn't have too much. They had a little debt, but they didn't have too much debt.
They had money in the bank?
Yeah, they had at least 5% down, and they had for what we were looking for, and they had reserves because he had a 401k.
Yeah, so imagine this. Imagine you have 700 plus credit score. You have $30,000 in the bank plus another $15,000 in a 401k. Your debt load is minimal.
Yep.
Yet someone's telling you you don't qualify. Correct. And this happens day in, day out from Spokane, Washington, all the way to Key West, Florida, and everywhere in between, especially when you have a younger family that, you know, he works, she stays home.
Yep.
He's making $5,000 a month. You would think at $60,000 a year that would be enough.
Correct.
But for some banks and credit unions that maybe don't have your experience or your skill set, they were telling this person no. So then how did you turn a no into a yes?
So Massachusetts prices, as we know, extremely high. So they were qualified, but they were looking for a house and couldn't find an affordable price.
Okay, so they were qualified for something.
Correct.
But what they were qualified for wasn't available.
Wasn't available.
So is lesson number one, you showed them the power of maybe moving over a couple zip codes?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll go with that. Well, there was even other places, but they were more rural areas of Massachusetts they could have been, but he needed to be a certain commute away from his job.
Okay.
So he didn't want to be more than, let's just say, 30 minutes away from his job. So what I did was I was, let's just say they were only qualified for $150,000 or $200,000 for a single family. So I asked her, I said, have you ever thought about a multifamily? And she said, yeah.
About multifamily, you're thinking of like a duplex, a triplex.
A duplex.
Or maybe something like, but even in today's day and age, a multifamily could be just having an ADU, right? An accessory
dwelling unit.
Dwelling unit, yes. Basically think of like a mother-in-law suite on top of the garage, right? Or a detached unit that sits out in the backyard that has its own like little entryway.
Yeah.
Okay. But for this person, it was a duplex.
It was, okay. Yep. And the I guess maybe the issue is that her real estate agent, and I guess their agreement had expired and she hadn't reached out to them in that time frame. They were initially living an hour and a half away from where they had moved. And that realtor, they weren't driving an hour and a half to show her houses even further. So I had, made sure that she wasn't in any kind of buyer's agency agreement or anything like that. After I pre-approved her, we looked in surrounding areas because that's what I do a little differently. So I was looking and I said, hey, what do you think about Connecticut?
So I'm going to pause you because not many people who tune into this type of content really speak our language and know what you do differently. Yes. Just know it's unique to have a lender who actually goes above and beyond and doesn't just talk to you about your credit, your debts, your interest rate, and your payment. But like Kayla is like, no, I figured out this is the payment they want or the payment they need for qualification purposes.
Correct.
This is how it marries to a particular purchase price.
Yes.
But what if I went online and utilized one of the many resources and started looking for maybe different types of homes outside of the area that they originally thought they wanted to be in, but still inside of his radius of needing to drive to work and have his drive time be whatever it needed to be, 30, 45 minutes. Okay, so you start doing that because that's the type of professional you are.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we had found a couple properties that the rents would equal enough for them to be able to qualify. Because I ran that first before they would even look.
Oh, that's right, because you're looking at multifamily now.
Correct.
They were looking at single family when she found you on Facebook.
Correct.
All angry and stuff.
Yes.
And you said, hey, look, what if I could find you something that was a multifamily 2-unit place?
Yeah.
You can live in half, but you can rent out the half.
Yeah.
And tell me, do the mortgage underwriters and the guidelines allow me to use that rent to offset the mortgage payment?
Correct.
Okay, so that's kind of that's the big lesson here.
Yes.
Okay, keep going.
And the funny thing is, in the beginning of the call, like I said, she was stressed out, she was upset, she was yelling, and then by the end of it, she was like, I told her, I said, just trust me. I said, I know it sounds crazy. I said, I know you've been through a lot. Trust me, and I will get you into a house. So I went through a pre-approval. I ended up calling her back. We got her pre-approved.
For how much now?
I believe it was it was like $280,000.
Yeah. So you went from 150 to 280.
Yeah.
The difference was you had to start looking at the home not being a single family home, but a duplex.
Correct.
And then you were going to use the rent on the unit that they don't live in to help them qualify for more.
Correct.
Okay.
And I said, I have some great news for you. I said, we're going to look a little bit outside of where you were looking before. I said, would that be okay? She's like, yes, like I'll do anything. So I said, now, do you have a realtor in Connecticut or do you know anybody?
Wait, Connecticut? I thought they were in Massachusetts.
They are. I'm sorry. So Connecticut borders Massachusetts.
Okay.
And it's right over the line. It's extremely more affordable.
So just by moving over one county, one city, one zip code, in this case, one state, happens to be a small state that borders another small state.
Correct.
But that was your way to find out. That was your opportunity to find a way to yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I said, I can send you to a really good agent that I know is going to get you in contract really fast. If that's what you want, if that's what your goal is, to get a house and get it fast. I have this awesome agent. I can connect you guys. She goes, yes, please. Like, she was just so willing. I mean, this was a completely qualified borrower. This was somebody who got me her documents in 30 seconds. Like, she was on it. She wanted a house for her family. So we were able to actually send her the pre-approval, send her to an agent. We got her in contract that week. We closed in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then where are they today?
She just reached out to me yesterday. They're looking for their second property. So they're going to use that rental that they've been making, and they're going to offset that and get them another house.
Look at you go.
Yep.
And now, is she back to work?
She is back to work.
So she's back to work. So now they have two incomes, not one income.
Correct.
They have one piece of real estate. Now they'll be renting out both sides.
Yes.
And then you're going to help them buy their next property with probably 3 or 5% down.
Correct.
That is so awesome. Kayla, if people want to get a hold of you because maybe they too want to follow in this particular client's footsteps, or they have a scenario that they want you to look at, what's the best way for someone who's looking to buy a home or needs a mortgage for them to contact you?
They can call my cell.
Okay, what's that?
508
Wait, 508?
Yep, 963
Okay.
0437.
Okay.
Or they can follow me on Instagram because I have some helpful mortgage tips that they can follow there. It's Kayla_home mortgage, or on Facebook, it's Kayla Tarabay.
Beautiful. Kayla, thank you so much for sharing this amazing example of how we as lenders, how you as a top lender in your market, doing loans in all 50 states, can help turn someone else's no into your yes, which is helping create wealth throughout our country through real estate as well as through home ownership.
Yep, and that's my saying. If your lender says no, I say let's go.